Well, here we are again. And we just introduced an interesting topic, and that is the social dynamic of shopping malls.
Yes. Yes.
It's not just to give my usual, let's start negative. I do not like crowds to begin with, but shopping malls are the least favorite. I remember when the Eaton Center opened up because it was so spectacular in terms of its architecture and so on and so forth. And I remember being gobsmacked, going, wow, look at this. This is really cool. Because right in the middle of the Eaton Center, and I think it's still there, I haven't been there in years, is this fountain that just used to spurt up. And it's just
Yeah, I
like,
know the fountain.
oh,
Yeah.
this is fun.
Yeah.
So there were features to it, not just stores, that you just went, yeah, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. Um, then, of course, it became whatever. It also cleaned up that whole strip along Young Street, because that strip along Young Street used to be semi red light district. It was also well, there were certain child molestation issues in that area. It got pretty nasty in that area, and people were afraid to go down there. Then Eaton Center opened up, and everybody went, "Yeah, okay, this is cool," and it did. It cleaned it up. Now it's deteriorated again because multiple stores have come and gone, et cetera, and there are areas that you just don't want to go to. And you're on the verge of the Metropolitan University or whatever the heck they call it. And that in Dundas Square, and these are hangouts. This is stuff where you go, not kind of shady, to say the least. Kind of
Yeah.
shady.
They're formerly culturally wonderful places to be that I remember the days when I was younger, malls were not places that you congregated to cause any trouble. You'd be moved along pretty darn quick,
Yeah, yeah,
right? Like if you
yeah,
weren't there to browse and spend
yeah,
money,
yeah,
then you were very quickly shown the door.
yeah, yeah,
Now, we don't do that anymore generally.
yeah,
And so our tolerance for, to be politically correct, countercultural behavior, to be politically correct, has gone way up. Like it astonishes me that, there's a phrase in the army, the regiment that I used to work with, the Royal Canadian Regiment, had a motto, never pass a fault. The standard you walk by is the standard you accept.
hmm,
And it basic, we walk by conditions that are horrible, but we don't say anything.
yeah, yeah.
Like we don't police our peers.
No, no,
If somebody is, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
stepping out of cultural norms,
yeah,
we just don't say anything. We expect something else to address that, and we
yeah.
don't address those type of things. So when you set the conditions and you raise the bar or lower the bar, I should say,
Hmm.
for what is acceptable, then that's what happens.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when you raise the bar to a top level of behavioral standard,
yeah,
then that's what you get. And it's time and time again shown that when you do that, your population returns. Like how many people think about, hey, it's Friday afternoon, let's go down to the Eaton Center and browse.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah, no,
you don't
no.
do it.
Going to
No,
Yorkdale, no. And
no.
here in like Rideau Mall in downtown Ottawa, there are parts of the mall where
Yeah,
you have to be on guard and be fairly defensive about what's going on around you. There are parts of the mall where you don't, because depending on the entrances and where it's positioned. But again, it's a level of tolerance. It's a level of
yeah,
this type of
yeah,
behavior is accepted, and I will let it happen. And so when we do that, we create the social conditions for everybody else to
yeah,
say, why would we come here?
yeah.
Like
No,
our Byward Market in downtown Ottawa is a brilliant place,
it is.
wonderful shops.
Yeah,
but it's the center of our socioeconomic struggles,
Yes,
the
it
city.
is.
And you've put the two populations together
Uh-huh.
and nobody's addressing the issue whatsoever. There's
Yeah.
lots of platitudes about it, etc. Lots of conversations at microphones, etc. But you create a condition where, do I really want to do that? Is the beaver tail really worth that? Or is it, I can go to a butcher up here where I live,
Yeah.
right? Even though that butcher down there is great. And so it does have effect. But I was saying earlier about um, the King of Prussia Mall in just outside of Philadelphia.
Outside of Philadelphia, yeah.
Totally randomly came across it one day when we were coming back from our former annual vacation we used to do down at Ocean City in Maryland on the
Oh
beach.
yeah.
Used to be
Yeah.
a summer thing. We'd stay right on the beach. It was beautiful. So we stopped at this mall, and it was massive mall. Like it would literally take you the day to
Yeah.
go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Jam packed with security everywhere
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
state troopers on foot walking around with dogs. They set the conditions for a high level security. And if you're
Yeah.
not there to shop and browse, this is a private place. This is not a public gathering and loitering place. Off you
No.
go,
Yeah.
out the doors.
Yeah.
And because of that, the place is booming
Yeah.
because people come there because there's a sense of safety and security within the mall
Yeah.
because they establish a sense of order.
Yeah. Yeah. It actually, from a business point of view, it raises some very interesting questions because when, let us say, the culture has changed radically in a large setting like a mall, and if it goes, let's say it spirals down, you almost see malls, and there are two that come to mind, where they have to add reasons for people to be there, especially with families. Um, one of the largest malls I've ever been in is the Mall of the Americas in Minneapolis. Why I was in Minneapolis is something that I should never talk about, but let's not go down there. And by the way, I was in Minneapolis about the time, and it was not my fault, I didn't do it, when the bridge between St. Paul and Minneapolis actually fell into the river. And so we couldn't go into St. Paul, which we had no intention of doing.
You were okay with.
Yeah, I was fine. Being in Minneapolis was enough. But the Mall of the Americas is considered one of the largest malls, period, full stop. And it goes on forever, much like, King of Prussia, which I find is such a fascinating name for
I
an
know.
American town.
I
It,
know.
it
I know.
is it is
Tell
fantastic.
me the Germans didn't settle in the area,
Yeah,
please.
no, no, not in Pennsylvania, not at all. No, but uh, what attracts people to go to that mall is not the stores. You could tell. And it's not the food. Take my word for it. That's, mall foods. You just go, yeah, okay. Although in parts of the world, without naming names of countries or populations, that kind of food is considered standard. I wouldn't touch it, but that's neither here nor there. Talk about health, you know. But right there in the middle of the Mall of the Americas is I don't know what you want to call it, Ferris wheel.
Amusement park.
It was an amusement park. And I went, ah, here's the reason why people come here. It's to bring your family, and you're in Minnesota or Minneapolis in Minnesota. It's cold in the winter. Where do you think you're going to bring your kids for entertainment without going to a movie? Because potentially they're too young. You're going to
Yep.
go to the Mall of the Americas, and that's how they attract people. The other one is the West Edmonton. I don't
I
know if
was
you,
about to say, yeah, yeah.
oh,
I love that place.
you do?
Oh yeah.
I
Indoor
think
hockey rink, what's better?
Oh, I think it's well, okay. I remember being in Edmonton, and I do like Edmonton. And I know I've said this repeatedly, and people are probably rolling their eyes who might be listening to this, but I do like Edmonton. I like it better than Calgary, but that's personal preference and so on and so forth. But the hotel that's attached to the West Edmonton Mall, I had the misfortune of having to stay there at one point. I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to mention it either. If I do remember what it is, it's just not. My favorite hotel in Edmonton, and it's up there among many of my favorite hotels, is the Railway Hotel, the McDonald. But I was in the West Edmonton, and they gave me an upgrade room where the entire outside wall was glass, except it didn't look outside. It looked out onto the mall. And you open the drapes or curtains, drapes, because they were drapes. And there was somebody at, I think it was Eaton's across the way looking back at me. And I went, no,
Yeah.
no, this can't be for real.
Yeah.
But that's my experience. Plus, of course, the submarine and the ice skating rink and the water, the slide and
And the
the this,
bungee
and the that.
jumping tower.
Yeah. Oh, now I see. I haven't been there in a
Oh
while.
yeah. I don't know if it's open. When I last time I was there, they had an indoor bungee jumping tower.
No, no. See, to me, that's a substitute. When people are afraid to go to the mall to shop, then you have to have another reason to go to the mall, especially if you've got young family. And so you put an amusement park in.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's a great amusement park. There's lots of kids there. It'll drain your pocketbook in a heartbeat,
Oh, totally.
like all the other places. It's like Jay Peak, which is a ski resort in New England, and I forget whether it's Vermont or New Hampshire. I think it's Vermont. Anyhow, they have a massive indoor water park.
Yeah,
It's killer in the winter.
yeah.
Like we used to go there when the kids were younger in the winter, and just to stay there and to go in because it's massive indoor water park. You have a
Yeah.
great time, slides, all this stuff. Uh, and it's what else are you gonna do in Vermont if you're not skiing? And it was at a ski
Oh,
resort, right?
yeah, yeah.
But if you're not skiing, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Blue Mountains like that in Collingwood. So you've got, although we're too Canadian to put it all indoors. I don't know why, but we are. So you go to Collingwood, you go to Blue Mountain, and you've got a village there. So they built this village of condos and townhouses and apartments all around, and you've got stores, and it looks like something out of someone's bad fantasy for a European town, and you just go, isn't that too bad? And then there's a big hotel, etc. And skiing all over the place, skiing here, there, over there. And then they have the slides and all that, except that they're outdoors. You can't do it in the winter. We're so Canadian, we
Yeah.
don't think that we actually live in a climate or in a weather zone that has snow and ice.
Well,
Yeah,
it's like choice. We will let you use this when it's weather appropriate, but when it's not weather appropriate, you shall go over and do this activity.
instead, yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I'm like,
we used to do our leadership program, 6-day leadership program just north of Barrie, in a resort that again I won't name. And it was a golf course, it was a ski, it had everything. It had condos, it had a hotel, so on and so forth. It was very, very nice. I mean, the food was wonderful, everything about it was nice, except that all of their ski stuff, you go up the hill, there it is, that's fine. In the summertime, it's useless.
mhm.
And then all of their slides and the water features, which are outside, in the wintertime, it's useless. And I'm going, okay, folks, did you ever think of a pavilion somewhere or something? Yeah. Now, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just being, narrow-minded, maybe I'm just not acknowledging that being outdoors is the Canadian way of life.
As it should be. I like it. I like it. That's why it's funny when you go to some resorts, you have outdoor beer gardens
Yes,
in the winter, like at the ski
yes,
resort.
yes, yes,
Like the
yes.
inside part is not where people are.
No, that's right.
everybody is out in their outdoor gear and they're drinking
Yep,
their beer and they're eating their food.
yep,
They're doing it all
yep,
outside in minus
yep.
20-degree weather with the wind whipping and the music's pumping. And we're like, we belong outside.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting about that? I actually like that. I'm not necessarily someone who will do a canoe head thing like you, and in the springtime to be, drowning in my in spring, rain. And I
Cold and wet,
like that. No, 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 no.
nothing better.
No, but you could get me to sit outside and have, I don't drink beer, but boy, I can have a nice whatever and great food and everything. It could be minus 20, would not bother me at all.
Yep.
I think it's brilliant. What a great way,
Yep.
to spend an evening.
But see, I'm the opposite in the summer. I don't like to sit outside on a patio in the summer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
I'll do that only at certain times. I'll do it early in the morning when the sun isn't, and the heat isn't too outrageous. And but then problem with it is even at early in the morning is in the summertime is fumes. You're dealing with noise and fumes and trucks and cars and loud people, and
You could move out of the city.
I am someday
Yep. Yep. Yep.
where I could sit outside and have my glass of wine. One of the favorite things I remember in traveling is sitting on the Champs-Élysées and having a glass of Pernod on ice, which when you say Pernod in certain circles, especially in restaurants, especially French restaurants or French-oriented restaurants, the eyebrows go up and they go, "Oh, Pernod." They treat you differently.
Yes, because you speak of the language,
Oh, it's
drinking language. Yeah.
not even necessarily in Paris. I remember being in New York and my sister and I took my sister out to the theater and we were downtown. I was don't even remember where I was staying. And we went out for dinner and we were out on a patio. We went to a matinee. We were out on a patio and in a pretty snooty, well, New York and snooty, they go together. Pretty snooty hotel, not hotel, but restaurant, where of course the waiters tried to be obnoxious Italian waiters, which is standard in Italy, but got to be careful when you're doing it in the US. Uh, and I ordered, and they asked, "Well, would you like, they were treating us like two rubes from nowhere."
Yeah.
And I just love it. The attitude is just, and so I remember asking, I said, I'd like Pernod on ice, no water. And he gives me the what? And he had to go to the bartender, and the bartender went, "Who's that?" And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, how New York can you get?
Yeah.
you know, I must be important now,
Exactly.
and you see people pointing and going, and he came with this gracious, oh, sir, here, and my sister was looking at me as if to say, who the F are you? I grew, I'm older than you are. Look at you. You think you're, some kind, no, I just like to drink this stuff that everybody hates, but I like to drink it.
It's like in my military career, people like port and I do not.
Oh, yeah.
But I had to try to pretend like I was sipping the port during the toast to
Oh, yeah.
Queen and all the other stuff where you do, La Lorraine du Canada and you take a little
Yeah.
bit of port and I'm faking it because I can't stand the stuff.
Really? Yeah, I like it, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But getting back to mall culture, and that's what it is. It's a culture. As my parents were getting older, they lived in an area that was an easy drive to us, local, like 3 blocks or so. Definitely nothing that they could walk to, but an easy drive. And it became, and we see it here sometimes. It became a regular outing for older people to do their exercise through a mall walk
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see them walking back and forth, sitting down, talking back and forth. I remember in the mall where my parents, not far from where my parents lived, I remember sitting, waiting for them. And my mother would go and she would meet the girls. These are my girlfriends. And they would sit there eating, they would have coffee and cookies or something, whatever, in the food court. And I remember, for whatever reason, I was sitting, either waiting for them or whatever, and I was told I was in someone's seat. And I looked around and I said, being Canadian at the time and still am, I apologized profusely for
Absolutely.
interrupting. This is Madame's place, not mine. And I thought, okay, there's a whole culture around that, this is mine, this is what we do it every day, and so on and so forth. And you go, wow, I'm not there, but I don't think I'll ever be there because I don't like malls.
Well, I don't either, but a lot of malls in our area have senior walking clubs.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so they open up the doors to the mall are opened up, you know, an hour before the stores open.
Ah,
And there's just a group of people, then that's what they do. Because they can't it's unsafe for seniors to be walking in slippery territory and
yeah, yeah,
outside
yeah,
in the winter, and they need their exercise, so the malls would just let them in. And then
yeah.
the coffee shop in the mall would open an hour early,
Yes, yeah,
and then they'd all grab a coffee afterwards and they sit down and chat. I know my local Tim Hortons has the same, if you go in every morning, it's the same group of seniors that come
yeah,
together and meet for coffee
yeah,
in the local coffee shop. Now I know that's replicated in smaller shops all around, but some of that, the smaller stores, is we in theory we refer to it as the social infrastructure.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and in our study of social capital, we one of the newest lines of inquiry is correlating the strength of the sense of place and sense of belonging in neighborhoods with the frequency and density of
yeah,
social infrastructure. So they measure
mhm,
things like nail salons, barbers, hair
yep,
salons,
yep,
coffee shops, place, community centers, rinks, parks, etc. Because the mall used to be that. And I think because of the cultural change, whether we accept it or not, malls aren't that place anymore. They're not that place where people go to hang out. Seniors don't gather in the malls much anymore. People don't gather in the malls. So we've moved that place to a safer place, for lack of a better term. And so now we see it happens in Toronto, it happens in Ottawa, like almost every week, a new jewelry store gets a smash and grab robbery in the mall.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so now it's becoming a reasonably regular expectation that you'll have an open, broad robbery in the
yeah,
liquor store and the jewelry store or
yeah,
something
yeah,
on a regular basis. And
yeah.
again, nobody does anything to cease this
Exactly,
behavior from
exactly.
happening.
Yeah. Interesting. It's the word I'm writing down is because I want to remember it. It behavior becomes normalized,
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
and it becomes
Absolutely.
normalized based on lack of response,
Yep.
not based on response or I don't know, plan. It's not planned. The behavior is not planned, other than the person doing the robbing, the theft. But it becomes normal because nobody reacts. And therefore, the absence of reaction is a normalization factor.
Yeah, oh, it is. It is. We
Yeah.
we would see it in. I know when I was growing up that if I tried to rob a liquor store with people in there, it wouldn't be the employees who were pummeling me.
No, it'd be the people who were there,
It'd be the other patrons there
yeah,
going,
yeah,
"This is
yeah,
unacceptable behavior,
yeah, you don't do that.
and
Yeah,
we will intervene to stop you
yeah,
from trying to
yeah,
steal the
yeah,
bottles."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying we should call for an increased level of civilian intervention violence in society, but again, when people don't intervene and when employees don't intervene and you just put camera systems up, then what's the deterrence?
Well, actually, because of the violence entailed in a lot of these negative actions, what a nice, neutral way to say it. Negative actions. No, you're being beaten to death. You know, the employees are actually told not to intervene.
Yeah.
I've run into this. You've run into this.
Yeah.
Someone is walking away with, computer X, out of store, whatever. And you're telling the person, the service person right there, what's happening over there. He said, "Yep, I know what's happening."
Yeah.
We have a small liquor LCBO around the corner from where I live, and every so often you see somebody, everybody knows, the entire neighborhood knows there's a car parked around the corner and there's a man and a woman sitting in there and somebody's walking out with a box and puts it into the trunk.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that that is theft.
Yeah.
Nobody says anything.
Nope. No, we don't say anything. We don't report it. We don't take down license plate numbers. We don't
Nope,
film it.
nope, nope.
Nope.
And what, and you just go, okay, is it fear? Is it safety? Is it, has the world become so violent that we expect that there is going to be a violent occurrence when something like that happens? Um, maybe we watch too much TV. And where automatically someone's going to stab you, shoot you, or do whatever, hit you on the head with the bottles of wine that they're stealing. I don't know. I find it fascinating. One of the cultural factors that, having looked at, and dabbled in, I'll call it dabble more than anything else, medieval studies, towns were emerged in the wake of lawlessness or surrounding the castle because that was for protection reasons. And then they morphed into becoming markets. All right. So because now people lived
Yeah.
not in the countryside. They may have worked in the countryside as, agrarian workers, but now they live in and around close to, and it's a very common thing. And so markets then emerged. And in a more modern time, you had the Rialto, you had the town center where you sit, you relax, you're at the Piazza di San Marco in Venice, and you're sitting there having your afternoon dolce and espresso, and you just sit and you watch the world go by.
Hmm.
The dolce far niente in Italian, the sweetness of doing nothing. We here in North America in particular, and I'm sure other parts of Europe, probably Northern Europe, although no, that's not true. I'd say more North America than anything else. We don't have that sense of just stopping,
No.
just stopping,
Yeah.
just sitting, you know, hence sitting, because when you do dolce far niente, you're outside. You're not sitting in your living room or in your kitchen
Mhm.
alone. You're watching the world go by. You're people watching.
Oh yeah, and I love that sport.
Yes.
Entire
Oh,
sport of
my
people,
favorite.
right? Um, Speaking of malls, I mean, if you just go to a Walmart in the United States and you sit down with a cup of coffee, and it's just like this incredible
No,
presentation of humanity.
no, I'd rather not.
Oh, it's a like we used to go to the Walmart in Waterton in Upper New York State, and just go visit because they got some. The great thing about Walmart in the U.S., other than people watching, is they have all the snacks that I ate as a kid
Yes, that you
that are
can't
now
get
banned
anymore.
in Canada because they're
Yes,
toxic, but they're
yes,
still safe in America, apparently.
Yes. Well, they're not safe. They're just
No, they're just
sold.
sold in America, right?
They're
It's
sold.
all about freedom, right? Freedom to buy things that will kill
Yeah.
you. So
Freedom to get killed or be killed.
exactly, but I would go there and I
Yeah.
could find all these
Oh
wonderful
yeah.
snacks I had as a
Oh
kid.
yeah.
So we do this cross-border thing, and then we kind of looked around and go,
Oh,
"Well, this is interesting."
oh, oh yeah.
And you're
It's
like, "I'm not ready to check out yet. This is
oh,
way too much fun."
listen, and one of the things that we fail to appreciate, that's the good word, is Shakespeare wrote plays about people like this.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this isn't,
It's
you
not
know,
new. It's not new. No,
no,
Omar
humans
didn't invent this.
living,
Yep.
you from the, I'm sure from the cave times, never mind small tribal, you always have your characters, and you have to.
Oh
What's
yeah,
the point?
yeah, yeah. I mean, what's that joke? What the internet did for us is that it brought all the village idiots together.
Yes, but not in the
Otherwise, they
same.
were fine on their own. Everybody
Yes,
knew who they were and
yes,
tolerated them and actually amused and found them amusing because they were harmless.
yes. It's entertainment,
Hey, it's entertainment, but they're not harmless anymore because the internet brought them all together and now they have a platoon.
and they're armed.
Yes.
They're weaponized.
Yep.
Oh no, oh no, no, you can't get away from it. It's the
Mhm.
weapon. This is what one of the people don't understand. They think this is a communication device. No, it isn't. This is a cultural device. It has changed the culture, and it's also a weapon. This
Yep.
is not something that just you talk into. I mean, and well, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it is that whole thing, and this is something I do like, and I haven't done in a while, and I regret it because I either work at home and I get stuck here, or I work in the office, which is that way, the west side. But I do take the TTC, and people say, "Well, why do you do that?" And I said, "Because it's the ship of fools. It's the people. It's the clown show. It's the and I should that's not nice. That's very terrible of me. But it's seeing people fascinating.
Yep. Yep.
When I came to Canada 100 years ago, yes, we were beyond horse and buggy at the time, but not by much. And
You were still
no,
driving the last spike.
no, I was it was after the last spike, but a little bit later than the last spike. But because I was a starving graduate student on a very, very low fixed income, living in residence, which was even more interesting, a little bit higher class than the rooming house I ended up in, but we won't talk about the rooming house. That's a whole other novel I haven't written yet.
That's
That's
humanity right there.
whoa. There's, there's fringe beyond fringe. But I remember my entertainment at the time, and I still like to do it, but it's becoming impossible. My entertainment at the time was to take streetcars back and forth, east west along Queen Street.
Yep.
Why? The neighborhoods that you would drive through, yeah, and they were not air conditioned. So in the summertime, you had to open it up to get some air. But each neighborhood was ethnic oriented. You went through the Polish, then the Ukrainian, then the Chinese, then the Italian, then and you're just going, wow. And the stores, they all had their own language, in the store signs. And you just go, wow. That was my entertainment, was taking public transit,
Yep.
and then just watching people get to the end of the line, get off, get back on, pay again in order to go back on the
And
streetcar.
you would see, especially here in Ottawa, where the public service is slowly going back to the office, and you see more and more people using public transit, is you have the entire broad spectrum of society on public transit. You
Yes.
have people well into six figures that it just makes logical sense
Yes.
to take transit. So you have people are either well dressed and are affluent, or they're trying to look affluent, because both of
Hmm.
those are true on public transit. Everybody down to the homeless individual who has a free
Yep.
pass for the day.
Yep.
And their day is doing nothing but riding transit to stay warm in
Yep.
the winter.
Yep.
And every possible conglomeration or permutation and combination of humanity on the bus. And it's
Yep.
funny because, unlike, and I haven't ridden the TTC in a long time, but everybody behaves culturally appropriately.
Oh, oh, yes.
We have very few instances where people are doing things that aren't generally acceptable. Like, everybody gets on, they shut up, they're in their own world, they're doing their thing,
Uh,
they get off of their
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aren't people crawling, like you see pictures from the TTC, people crawling on the floor of the subway
Yeah.
cars, or
Yeah.
walking around,
Yeah.
wandering and
Yeah.
yelling in the air,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. Because that's the breakdown of what I would call the public transit culture. It's no longer polite. It used to be.
yeah,
And what's interesting about it is, depending on the time of the day when you take it, all right, you get
sure,
different
yeah,
groups of people. I'm not going to call them classes, but groups of people, because classes is such a nasty term. Um, and we don't use the word caste anymore, but different classes of people, because I like to take early morning subway to get to the office. And there are two groups of people who get on. You get the men who've been working underground in the railway, in the TTC, who have finished their shift and are going home. So they've got the hard hats. They look like they've been working all night. They're tired. They've got boots that got mud, coming, all over the place. And so they're they're on their way home.
yeah,
That's the group going home, mostly men, very few women. But then you have the women, mostly women, I'd say close to 90%, if I were to put a number on it, women who are in the medical profession, nurses going to either the dentist office, dental nurses, or nurses going to the hospitals for their shift in the morning and so on. And so you could tell because they have their uniforms,
yep,
and so and those are usually the two largest groups that you'll get at 6 o'clock in the morning. If I'm going to go a little bit later, say 7-ish, you'll get all the students coming in, by hundreds, whatever. And that's where the noise goes through the ceiling, and you get a little bit,
yeah,
because young people, especially, I'm going to be very gender specific. Although that's not, I'm about to correct myself. Young people generally, male or female, um, they tend to have this decibel level in conversation that's just outside, not inside voice.
yeah,
And it's just, to them, it's normal.
yeah, absolutely,
For the rest of us, it's like, do you mind? Like, cut it out.
yeah,
But even earlier, say that the first group, the women and the workers, workers are usually trying to stay awake so they can get to the probably Union Station in order to take the GO train to their suburban destination. The women who are in the medical field, whatever version that is, they're just going, but they're on the phone often enough, and they are talking loud because you have to in the train. Now, I'm talking about a car that may have 5 people in it.
yeah,
We're not talking about, suddenly there are 20 some odd, 30 some odd people crowding in. No, 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 no. It's about 5 people. But the decibel level of the conversation, you're just going, okay, come on. Like, well, we've got the kids that have to, be fed. We've got somebody, who's taking care of them. We've got this, we got that, blah, blah, on. And so you begin to size up people. Maybe that's my mall experience, is to do public transit, because I find malls just too big, too obnoxious, too crazy. And
Yeah, and I like public transit because a lot of why when I was at university for a couple of years, I that's how I got to and from every day.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I spent 2 hours on it, and you would see after a while, you would see the same people, the
Yes.
same pattern of people, like you
Yep.
expressed, the
Yep. Yep.
same. And there was one guy who, to this day, I just think he was awesome. He carried his coffee mug onto the bus.
Ooh.
Everybody else had their cool Yetis or
Yeah, yeah,
whatever,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
no,
Cupboards and yeah.
just your regular everyday, not even fancy like this, just your regular coffee mug. And he'd carry it on. He'd be standing there sipping on at the bus stop, hop on, sit down with his backpacker bag in his lap, and he'd be sipping his coffee out of his mug. I'm like, dude, you're having a great life. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you've got balance, never mind anything else.
yeah, like
That's what I admire.
boss is
Holy,
doing all of this and he's never spilling a drop. I'm like,
oh
dude,
wow, that's talk about having sea legs.
yeah.
That's pretty good.
But I used to see all of those groups of people. And then just recently, the city has almost completely stopped school bus service for high school students. They
Mm,
just go on transit. Now, there
mm,
are several special routes just for
yeah,
um, schools, high schools. But
yeah.
basically, when you're in high school, they don't need to put you on buses. This was more of a I can't find any bus drivers to drive high school
Oh,
students around. I
yeah,
wonder why.
yeah.
I don't know. Why wouldn't you want to get yelled at for minimum wage? Come on.
Or have things thrown at you
Yeah,
as you're
exactly.
driving. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, we're talking adolescence here.
exactly. So, but you see more and more students moving and about and less
Yeah,
adults.
yeah, yeah.
And it's quite interesting. It's like you said, it's that scheme, that's the whole spectrum of society
Mm,
that you have an opportunity to see. And most people, like you said, are simply just trying to get from A to B.
yes.
And they just don't want to be bothered.
No,
They're not on the transit system to make friends and introduce
no,
themselves
no.
and have conversations. No, they're just trying to get A to B. They got headphones on. They're trying to look, you know, they're not trying to attract any attention.
The inconspicuous.
That's the word I was trying to search.
It's inconspicuous, and what we used to say in a different world, different life that I had, having had many lives, worse than a cat, is custody of the eyes.
Yeah.
That's a New Yorker thing. You don't, when you're on the subway in New York, you do not look at anyone.
Anyone.
The minute you look at somebody, it becomes a challenge, and then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
It's primitive. It's
Oh yeah,
like,
you're just gonna sit there, shut up, look to the
shut
front,
up, look. You're
look
even if you're not
down.
reading the paper, you're going to look at it.
Yeah.
All right. Sometimes you don't bring your phone because that's a sellable item out on the streets. So I mean, this is pure, unmitigated
Yeah.
self-preservation
Yeah.
in a very primitive way. All right. I've always said, and I do it all the time here. In New York, you don't walk down alleys. Full stop. Ever.
Yeah. You don't.
Ever. Broad daylight? No. Never mind night, then you're really stupid. But here I do it all the time. Oh, I wonder what's down that alley. And I'm going, you obviously have become Canadian. You, you're now trusting.
Yes, a little bit much, maybe.
Yes, a little
Like,
too much.
but that's a good example of what happens when areas become or people have the perception that they're unsafe.
Yeah,
People stop frequenting them and they find other places to go. And so
yeah,
we see cities trying, like here in Ottawa, our recent one of the big promises of our recent mayoral election was to bring a police station back to the Byward Market and to increase police presence on the ground, bring back you know, community policing on foot and bicycles that used to exist in days gone by. So, we're going to assign a series of officers to an area and we're going to leave them there for a couple of years. So they get to know the patrons, they get to know the businesses,
Yeah.
they build a social
Yeah.
relationship
Yeah.
with the served community. And because people are saying like this could be a wonderful central hub.
Yeah.
But when people get shot up and stabbed, like we call it the stab word market,
Yeah.
right? Like, and it's unfortunate because it has the potential to be as great
Yeah.
cultural place for people to go,
Yeah.
but until you insert some form of order, then you don't have that sense.
And what's interesting, just going back to some of the other thing we just talked about, and it isn't so much asserting some form of order as if you need people with, loaded pistols walking around and
Yeah.
brandishing them.
Yeah.
It's presence,
Oh, it's presence.
very fact that there's someone there.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what we were just saying, the very fact that we don't acknowledge, look at, or even intercede creates it's almost like giving permission.
Oh, it sets the conditions for it to
Sets,
happen.
it sets the conditions. And so what happens in malls? Well, if nobody intercedes because somebody is doing something that maybe has crossed a line, because you're afraid that person who's crossing the line might have a knife or a whatever, a gun, and that's quite common, by the way. They probably do. You then walk away. Your
Yeah.
inaction creates a standard of behavior.
And that's why the model that I spoke about before was the standard that you walk by is the standard you accept.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so when society turns into that, you can't say, well, what happened? Well, it happened because
Yes.
collectively, we all decided that this was now acceptable behavior
Yep.
and normalized the behavior. And now we're pretending to be up in arms that the behavior is now counter to what we want in our communities.
Okay. I'm going to be a little more generous because, yes, we've normalized certain behaviors that now are objectionable. But I don't think we normalized it based on intention. It's purely unintentional. Unintentional in the sense of not, I'm stupid and I'm just being, dumbass about it.
Yeah.
No, unintentional in the sense that I am intentionally not getting involved, which that non-involvement then creates, a culture of permission.
Yeah.
Right. So it's yes, there's intention involved, but it's not a case of I'm going to allow this behavior to occur because they have the freedom to do this. It's a case of I don't want to end up on a slab somewhere.
We have abdicated our responsibility towards community. And
Oh,
this is a bigger thing,
oh
a
yeah,
bigger.
oh
We've had a couple of conversations about this before, but this is
yeah,
just another example of
yeah,
where, as
yeah,
a member of a community, I have a duty and responsibility to
yes,
contribute to good order. It's
yes.
not just the police's job to
No, I
establish
agree.
good order, right? That is everybody's responsibility to
Yep.
participate in that. Now, no, you're right. That does not mean everybody intervening in an LCBO thing, but it
No,
means everybody participating in
yeah, yeah,
maintaining good order in your community. And when you lose that, reestablishing good order. It's like some communities that have strong social capital have stepped up and they now have night safety patrols.
yes,
These are just residents
yes,
who get together with flashlights, and the very presence that they're walking around the neighborhood at
yeah,
night with big glow in the dark vests on so they can be seen. They don't have any authority, but the very presence that they're there deters. And I'll give you a fine example. In Ottawa, there's a different um, Centertown is now very much complaining about the fact that the increased police presence in the Byward Market has displaced the
Oh,
objectionable
yes,
behavior.
they moved somewhere else.
They've just moved to the next city, Oregon, to Centertown, and now Centertown is facing a lot of issues they didn't
Yep,
before
it's a migration.
because they've have simply migrated the problem away from where it was before, right? But this is the idea of like, I have a square, I'm a member of this small community, I have a duty to contribute to the safety of that community. And it may be I just see things and I say things because, you and I are not going to throw hands and get into a Donnybrook fight in the LCBO, right?
No.
But we're more than happy to take a picture
Yes,
over the film and
yes,
show up at a trial to be a witness,
yes. Yep.
right? That's where we change the conversation,
Yeah, yeah,
where
yeah,
everybody's looking and everybody's watching.
yeah, yeah.
Then we can turn the conversation to our catch and release security jail
Yeah.
system. But that's a different podcast.
What has emerged in some of the even, police procedurals on TV, which is not, of course, a standard of practice anywhere, is that there are lots of people who film or video using their phones, absolutely everything that's happening. Uh, but then they don't do anything with it other than pass it around in their network of social media, their
Or
social
post it
media
on
network.
TikTok.
They post it on TikTok, but
Yeah.
it's not something that's going to be reported. There's that extra step of actually reporting something to authorities, because there's no sense of authority. Why would I report it to you? You just happen to wear a uniform. Why weren't you there? Why weren't you there? Why should I take, the trouble to tell you you missed somebody being shot to death? You should be there. Well, wait, whoa, wait a minute. Let's look at the implication of that statement. I mean, what's the tax regime around that? How many people do we hire? How many people do we need in order to go out and police areas like that? Literally, the police.
Yep.
And then, oh, I don't want to pay my taxes. What are you talking about? That's, no, no. Go monitor social media, watch what's happening in TikTok, and you go, whoa, now we got a big problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where is responsibility here? Is the responsibility of someone videoing an incident that's occurring, that's breaking the law, for example, is the responsibility to upload it as entertainment? Or is it the responsibility to upload it as an incident that needs to be investigated?
Yeah.
Well, some of us don't have a sense, some of us, and I'm going to use the word us, don't have a sense of, it's not my position or place or whatever to judge right and wrong. Whoa,
Whoa.
a minute. Whoa,
Yeah.
stop. Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, someone robbing somebody else
Some
is,
things are fairly obvious.
yeah, and if they happen to have, I don't know, pipe and they hit the guy on the head and he's bleeding, you think maybe there's something wrong here? But sometimes I would suspect people don't necessarily have a sense of right and wrong, even in the face of watching basically mayhem, you know.
Because watching mayhem is normalized. You go on TikTok, there's entire channels for public fights.
Yeah,
For
I
there's a
don't, that's why I don't do TikTok.
there's a channels for people getting run over by cars in protests.
Oh,
And these have hundreds of thousands of followers who just want to watch people plow cars through protests.
okay.
Well,
Well,
because you got some states in the US have now legalized your right if you feel scared to escape in your car through the protesters and you can't
oh,
be charged,
you can't
right?
be charged
So
because
if
it's a
you're
kid.
pounding on the outside of my car
Yeah,
and I feel threatened,
yeah,
I have the right to exit that in my car. So basically drive through the protest crowd to find an exit and I am free from discipline for that.
yeah.
And
See,
so, because of that, you see that happen more often. And
yeah.
now you have people filming it.
Well, many years ago when G7 actually met here in Toronto, don't ask me the date, you might know that better than I do, but when they met here in Toronto, they were obviously, they were riots, they were protests, let me put it
Yes.
that way. And my office used to be downtown on John Street, and the protests were at Queen Street and Spadina. That's like within spitting distance of where my office was. And one of these protest days, people decided that they were going to go after the man. No, I'm not talking about the police, although they did burn
Several police cars. Yeah.
several police cars. Uh, and if you're into conspiracy theories, some people have indicated that that was really started by the police in order to whatever. I mean, I find conspiracy theories so it takes too much to think about. Like I'm kind of lazy. Like
It can be exhausting at
I
times.
really have
They
to
can.
believe that shit. Give me a
Yeah.
break, will you?
Well,
That's
the truth inside of it is there are a core group of professional protesters.
yes. Well, that's what happened actually in this particular incident, not the police car. Uh, because there are all these stores right there on Queen Street. There was a Starbucks I used to go to right there, John and Queen, boom, right there, prominent. And they decided to plow cars through the window. And I'm going, it's a frickin' Starbucks. Like, what's your,
Yeah.
it's the bosses, it's the,
It's the man. It's
capitalism, it's the
corporate. It's
man,
capitalism. Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
people making money off of people. I said, oh,
Yeah.
it's people who buy bad coffee, and why are you doing anything to them? Leave them alone. I mean, but they plowed right through. They almost took the building down. It was one of those typical two-story, three-story buildings in downtown Toronto. And you just go, what was the point?
Yeah.
I hate to be that obvious and maybe pragmatic, but what was the point here?
The anarchists and the professional rioters, and they see that in a lot of the riots that have happened, anti-police riots in the US, especially during Black Lives Matter and protests like that, that it wasn't the issue that was the problem, it was the professional protesters whose
Yeah,
livelihood is made
yeah, yeah,
through disrupting
yeah, yeah,
operations. So
yeah.
I need a protest so that I can loot.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
weaponization of protest,
Yeah, absolutely.
basically. That
Yeah.
that's what it is. And listen, I grew up in the 60s, so protest was protest, all right? And I never participated because coming from a working class background, I didn't have access to lawyers, nor did my family have money for that.
I protested stuff when I was a young teenager, but I wouldn't smash anything.
Oh, we went from I remember at the university I was in as an undergrad, we went from locking the doors of the buildings so that we couldn't go to our classes, going, oh, okay, that was it, to something getting a whole lot worse, like throwing Molotov cocktails. And I went, um, really?
Yeah.
That's when I said, okay, I might believe in your cause, but now I don't believe in you.
Yeah.
Go away. I
Yep.
don't care what you're protesting. All
Yep.
right.
We started telling people it was okay to act on your feelings.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
it's not.
No.
It's not. It's not
No.
okay to act when you're angry. It's
No.
not healthy. Today,
No.
if you're angry at the system that you believe has put you in a difficult position, then burning a bunch of things and smashing a bunch of businesses is just looking you like a petulant toddler having a tantrum. That's all
Yes.
you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
same thing that I say periodically on social media when somebody talks about various movements that are protesting in cities. I'm like, you look like a bunch of petulant toddlers because you're not actually doing anything to remedy the issue you believe is at play. You're simply disrupting everybody else's lives
Yes.
because you're angry.
Yes.
You're not doing anything. Like
It,
if you're protesting an issue that's happening on the other side of the world, my answer to you is, why are you here?
yeah.
Get
Yeah.
on a plane and get over there and solve the issue that needs to be addressed.
You just introduced a word. I find it fascinating that, and it's more. prevalent now, probably because of social media. Now I'm making connections that are probably bogus. But it's prevalent in that we go after causes, but that's always been a protest. It's a cause
Yeah.
without necessarily understanding the roots of
No,
the cause.
nobody wants to do the research and the thinking part.
It's the thinking part. Research, yeah,
But thinking,
yeah, but it's
people
the
don't want to
think.
logically think through what do you,
Yeah,
like when you say abolish government, like defund the police. Okay.
yeah,
Have
do
you
it.
thought
But
that through?
what's going to be the consequence? It's consequent
Okay.
thinking.
Yeah. Consequential thing. Like, okay, that's great. Defund the police. You don't let, what happens next?
Yes, that's my question.
What happens next? Like, um, like exactly like when you, this is the part that I get frustrated. One of the few things that still irks me, um, is people who are protesting because it's the cool thing to do,
Oh yeah.
because
Oh
they
yeah.
have any idea or concept
Yep.
of the origins and the causes of the issue they're protesting. They're simply just protesting because it's really cool to do it.
Well, it's part of the, I'm about to go into a deep end of the pool.
Dive in, let's go.
It's part, I think it's part of the entertainment approach to things. This
Yeah.
is entertainment.
Oh yeah.
Protest is an entertainment
Yeah.
for the people who engage, among other things. It's you might as well be in, Blue Man
Yeah.
or whatever. This is you go out and you be cool and you do everything and you have this and you go, okay, I'm happy for you if you want to entertain yourself in the Nevada desert, go for it, or Arizona, or wherever the hell it takes place. But when you're doing it down the street from where I'm working or living, I tend to get a little pissed off.
Yep.
Like why? I support you, but why are you screwing around with me? Are
Yep.
you now challenging me to join you? Well, guess what? You just turned me off.
Yeah, I mean, we had a number of protests for a certain cause that I'll not name inside a number of our malls.
Mm, mm.
I'm like, what are you doing? That conflict exists in a different part of the world,
Yep.
and you're running around a mall all masked up, intimidating good people who are just going about their day,
Yeah.
and you think somehow
Yeah.
that advances the cause for which you're arguing. It presents the entire opposite and continuously turns more and more people away from what you deem to be appropriate. It's I find it difficult. I don't interact with any of them because they've never tried. They're not interested in having a conversation about why they're there. They just want to intimidate. It's like the people goes, I'm going to block traffic on the road so you understand how important my issue is. Oh no, no, that's not what that comes out of it. No,
No,
no, no, dear.
no, no. You
No, no,
just
dear.
pissed me off. That's what
You
you did.
piss me off,
Yeah.
right? And now guys like me that get a bit vindictive periodically will say, I'm now going to search how I defeat your cause, right? It's like the Just Stop Oil group. Have you ever follow them? They're the ones that have the sit-ins and the roadways, and they glue their hands to the roads and
Oh
in
yeah.
Europe and stuff. So one group that got frustrated with it decided to use a little IT, so they hacked into their WhatsApp group that they were using and found out where their meeting was. Their next general meeting in this European city of 50 people to plan their next protests. And then they crashed it.
Mm.
So they did a protest on the Just
On the
Stop Oil
protest.
folks
Yeah.
in their meeting, running around playing music, banners,
Yeah. Yeah.
banging things,
Yeah.
taking pictures of everybody, and all this stuff
Yeah.
as a way of saying, you there's consequences to your actions, folks. Like you're going to cheese somebody off and they're going to come after you,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't, I, and part of it though is I do get frustration. And this was part of the argument that we had in the city of Ottawa when the convoy came to visit us in 22 in February.
Visitors. That's a nice way of putting it.
Came
Visitors.
to stop by, spend some time, spend some money on the local economy and that kind of thing, right? Is when somebody is protesting government action and they do all the right things that we think is correct and they don't get any reprieve. When when are we supposed to just stop and take it, right? So if somebody's livelihood, whether it was a good or a bad decision, was being stopped and they protested and pleaded with the government, they talked to their MPs, they tried court orders, they did everything they could to try to stop the government from what it was doing. And when there was no more legal avenue left, do we just expect those people to sit down and take it? And the convoy was people going, we've done absolutely everything legally we possibly can, and we've received no positive outcome. And so now we're just coming to the seat of power
Mhm.
to remind people that there are consequences to your actions. So, from one side, it's not that they were my friends, but they brought bouncy castles and music and they good live music. And all I'm just saying is that um, there are some issues that people protest that what do you expect them to do? They have no way of remedying it. And when they lose, do you just wait for the next government? Like, I don't know the right answer to that question.
Well, okay, I'm not going to take up that banner because I have a different opinion, and we're not going to go down there. It's as
Okay.
simple as that. Um, I one of my sensibilities is okay. It goes back to some of the discussions we've had before, especially from you and your side, is that these people wanted to get the government to do something. And there's a part of me that says, did you think in terms of, did you think of alternatives where, what would you do in the absence of government?
Yep.
Where's self-reliance here?
Hmm.
All right. Yes, there are problems. Yeah. Okay. The shizzy hits the fizzy. I don't care whether it comes down from God or it comes down from, sorry, I shouldn't have said that, but, or whether it comes from parliament or it comes from, judges. I don't care where it comes from. Your teacher, your school system, I don't care. What is your sense of capability, which of course we drowned out and we actually beat out of children through the school system. But how are you going to handle this in a way that is going to be positive for you? Notice I didn't say it's not going to be disruptive to the rest of the universe. If you think disrupting the rest of the universe is going to do something for you, then I say fine, do it. But what is it that's going to do for you?
Yep. Yep.
When I think in terms of responsibility, I'm not saying don't do something. I am saying, what have you envisioned in any way, thought about? Let's not even use the word envision. In any way, what your goal is. What do you want to get out of this? Are you expecting the government to change all the rules to accommodate you? It ain't going to happen. It's just too big an issue. Are you expecting them to tinker? Well, you're not going to be happy anyway if they tinker by changing certain things. What do you want to accomplish? That to me is the first question. Whether you protest, you throw Molotov cocktails, which I am not advocating. I'm going to make sure
You.
that's being recorded. I'm not advocating destruction, but disruption is, I think, up to a point, legitimate.
Civil disobedience has a role.
Exactly. It's legitimate. It's not nice. I'm not encouraging it, but there is a legitimacy. It's called freedom. Otherwise, we wouldn't live here. All right. In this way. However, um, if you're going to drive a car through the front door of a Starbucks, what are you accomplishing?
Yeah.
And if you're just saying it's part of the protest against the man, then I go, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's just your way of covering up your bad attitude and your bad behavior.
Hmm.
Have you actually thought about what this means to the people who are in that store at the time when you're driving at them?
Yeah.
All right, let's forget about whether you like Starbucks or not. There are people who are employed there. There are people who are
Yeah.
buying coffee there. There are people
People who need to
there.
make rent with the money they make there, and you just take away their job for a couple of weeks while they repair the store. Like, what have you accomplished?
And these are gig workers. They are hourly workers. They are
Yeah.
not people who are walking away with huge salaries. You're talking about the person on the ground.
Yeah.
And so I ask, if you are in a privileged position where you're part of a movement that in some way is subsidizing you financially, good for you. All right. Well, what about that person, the barista, who
Yeah.
needs to pay the friggin' rent?
Yeah.
Have you thought about that?
They don't. They don't.
And it isn't just,
Don't.
it includes, by the way, that cuts across all kinds of spectrums. It cuts across the police. Have you thought about, you're going to beat the crap out of protester XYZ, all right?
Yep.
Have you actually thought that through?
No.
All right? No, you're just going to react. And that is, I think, one of the biggest issues that I
Yep.
find that people don't think in terms of consequences, but the other, they haven't thought it through in terms of what it is that they want to accomplish. That's
Yep.
the part that pisses me
Yep.
off. All right.
And there's so very little thinking in what do I want to accomplish and what is the most likely avenue to be successful in it.
Yes.
Like there's
Yes.
no thought behind. I
No.
think that driving into a Starbucks will make me successful in stopping what I believe, reaching the outcome. Like obviously that's an illogical conclusion, and that wouldn't be
Exactly.
because they don't sit back and think. This is
Yeah.
why I don't find much use for the protester of today. I find very little use for
Well,
because they're not actually trying to solve any
yeah. Yeah.
issue.
It,
Right?
it, no, I agree.
They're not.
The ideological approach to things is a narrowed ideology. I mean, if you are part of the Marxist movement in the 1900s, bringing and you aim at Lenin and others, aim at bringing down the Tsarist regime in order to change society. Well, whether you like it or not, there's a plan, and B, there are goals. We're going to change
Very
society,
clear. Very clear.
right? And one of the most telling things about that whole situation is that Lenin didn't want to go to Russia in order to start the revolution. Why? It's agrarian nation. What the hell am I going to do with all these stupid farmers? God damn it!
Yeah.
He wanted to start the revolution in Germany. Why? Industrial.
Yeah.
What do you think Marx? What do you think Marx was talking about? He wasn't talking about, reforming farming. I mean, he was talking about the Industrial Revolution and
Right.
how it dehumanized people.
Basically giving people back the modes of
modes of production.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
his basic argument, and the farmer is like, "What are you doing?"
they already have the modes of production.
Right?
I mean,
Like it's the fact that the carpenter used to find the wood, fell the wood, carve the wood, make the furniture, and sell the furniture.
right.
Now you have furniture factories. That's what Marx was after.
Yeah.
Returning that value, the value in the system, returning that back to the carpenter, or at least giving the carpenter a fair, in his mind, a fair
Yeah.
value
Yeah.
out of that.
Because it was based on value,
Yeah.
which was understood in economic terms, that wasn't about going back to cottage industries.
No.
No, no, no.
No.
Production is how the hell are you think you're going to make money? You need to do it mass, mass amounts, mass production, mass market. He wasn't going to go and say, "Oh, well, we can't do that anymore. Let's all go knit." No, we have knitting factories and mills.
I'm not a fan of Marx, obviously, but I've read.
Oh yeah,
And the most telling parts are the letters between Marx and Engels, I think, were in my foray into it, was the most telling parts back and forth, because Marx was broke and Engels funded everything. And so they would argue back and forth over these letters back before social media existed. And people would say, this is why I love discourse on social media sometimes. And people are go, "Well, you're a fascist." I'm like, "Well, you don't have a freaking clue what a fascist is." Or you just, communism uh, will work in Canada. Oh, okay. Well, tell me which, when communism kills about 5% of the population. So do you or I get to choose the couple million Canadians we're going to murder?
yeah.
Oh, that won't happen here. No, because this time it'll be different
Oh yeah,
from every
always
other
different.
time, right?
Always different. Yeah,
But I always love people who go on these ism tracks and
yeah.
just lay a whole bunch of accusations, like, you don't know where that came from, right? Have you read anything, or are you just reading what somebody's showing you on a TikTok or on a Twitter feed and saying, "Oh, well, the U.S. government is becoming fascist," or the far right is going to destroy the world?" Or I'm just like, do you know that the KKK came out of the Democratic Party in the U.S.? Like,
Oh yeah.
read the history? No? Oh, okay.
Did, did you
Is that
know?
inconvenient?
Yeah. Did you know that Emancipation was a Republican?
Yeah.
Actually, the
Yep.
founder of the Republican Party
Yeah.
went from Whig to Republican, and you go, oh, okay. Well, okay. Now we're getting into things
Yeah.
that we
I
should
think we
be,
need to
coming to the end and
wrap up on
doing
a busy
other
Friday.
other stuff on a
Yeah.
Friday. Yes. I'm glad we were able to solve the problems of the world. Just
Yeah.
nobody's listening.
Yeah. What is it? It's not hard. It's really not hard to solve any of this. Just listen to me. I'm just one of 3.4 billion voices with access to the internet. Why isn't the world
Exactly. Like,
paying
what's your
attention?
problem?
I
Listen.
know. Just listen.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how to do it.
By the way, just to close it off, I am still working on the risk and resilience program, and it's moving in a very interesting way. And maybe I should.
I was going to say, you might want to pause the recording
Oh,
and not end the meeting.
nice, nice stuff.